Hi dear souls, I'm happy to see you again, and yeah, I won't speak too much. I'm going directly to the topic of today because this topic is continuation of my previous two videos, relationship or not. I have to translate it also in English. I made it in German language anyway, it comes. And the second one was a childhood trauma. And yes, today we are going to look how this childhood trauma can be passed on our DNA, on our cells, through our parents, through our grandparents, and through our ancestors. So, have you ever felt like you were carrying a burden that was not yours, like a shadow from the past, unspoken, unseen, and it is somehow influencing your choices, your emotions, and even your body? What if I told you that the science is uncovering how the traumas of our parents and even of our grandparents might be shaping our lives in a way we never imagined? Hi, my name is Martina, and today we are diving into the fascinating and sometimes haunting world of intergenerational trauma. We will explore how parental trauma leave marks on our DNA, shape our behaviors, and influence our emotional being. But don't worry, it's not just about understanding the past, it's also about discovering how we can heal and thrive despite it. Let's start directly with the science. You've probably heard about DNA, right? It's genetic blueprint that makes us who we are. But there is a small twist. Scientists now know that DNA isn't our destiny. Yeah? Welcome to epigenetics, the study of how our environment can change how genes are expressed without altering the DNA sequence itself. Think of it like a dimmer switch for our genes. Yeah, stress, trauma, and even diet can add chemical tags to our DNA and changing how our genes are behaving. And here's where it gets really fascinating, because these changes can sometimes pass down to the next generation. Take, for example, the groundbreaking research by Dr. Rachel Yehuda. Her studies on Holocaust survivors showed that this trauma they endured didn't affect only their mental health, it affects also their stress hormone levels in measurable ways. Even more astonishing is that the same markers were found in their children who had never directly experienced the trauma themselves. And it's not just the humans, animal studies confirm this too. For example, when I was a small child, I was born 1985, so I never experienced any war or something similar to that. And yeah, I was growing up in a normal country where no violence was here, no guns and stuff like this. And when I was a small child, I think 6 years old, I was always scared of big cars. The name is Tatras, yeah, and it's a Russian car. And these cars are really awful, really not nice cars, and they are worse cars, yeah. And yeah, I was scared when I was near to this car. I was running away. I was throwing me on the grass. I was with the bike. I throw my bike and I ran, and I was so anxious and I didn't understand why. Yeah? Now it's not so bad, but anyway, when this car is, yeah, it's not so many cars, and yeah, also not here in Slovakia. But when this car is passing by me, it's always this feeling like, oh, wow. And I didn't know why, but I understood, because it's because of my grandmother, grandparents, and maybe also from my ancestors before they experienced the war. So therefore, as I told you, now this fear is not here as strong as before, but it's still here. But I'm working on it, and I will tell you, you don't have to experience this, but it's all saved in our cells. So what does it mean for us? It suggests that the emotional scars of our ancestors may leave biological echoes in our lives. But trauma isn't just written in our cells, it's also carried in our behaviors, parenting styles, and relationships. Imagine a parent who endured war, abuse, or loss. Even if they don't talk about it, don't talk about their traumas, it can shape the way they parent, as I told you before. They might become overly protective about food, insisting their children eat everything on their plate. Yeah, maybe you know that from your grandparents. I know this because it was sometimes you won't stand up from this table until the plate is not empty. And where came this from? Exactly. Or someone who experienced betrayal. This person might struggle to trust someone else, to trust the other person, and unintentionally, they are teaching their kids to do the same. So in their relationship, they also don't trust to the other person, even if they don't have this experience, but the parent, the mother or the father, are giving them this experience through the emotion and through the connection. This isn't about blame. It's about understanding that traumatized parents often do their best they can, but unsolved pain can ripple through generations. Psychologists call this the transmission of trauma, and it's often, I think it's always unconscious. Yeah. Attachment theory, for instance, shows how a parent's ability to bond their child is shaped by their own experiences. If a parent struggles with emotional regulation due to past trauma, their child might grow up feeling anxious or unsure about their place in the world. For example, I can tell you my experience. I come from a toxic family. Yeah, not the whole time. Thanks God, mom married for the second time, and then it was everything okay. But my own father was a toxic man, narcissistic, manipulative, alcoholic, and yeah, I really saw everything from violence, screaming, quarrel, and all this stuff. And yeah, already as a small child, I think I was really 6 years old, I thought I'm never gonna marry and I will never have children. And now I have some months until I will be 40, and I was never married. I was never divorced. Yeah, I didn't spend a lot of money. I saved money. I can say I saved time, but I also have no children. And yeah, maybe it's bad, it's good. I'm accepting this because I know it's my own manifestation. I love my life, but I am understanding the pattern and the consequences of my thinking and of the past of our family. Here is the good news. Just because we inherit trauma, it doesn't mean we have to repeat it. And the pattern of the past can be understood, challenged, and changed. So work on yourself, try to understand why is happening this to me? What does it have to tell me? Is it mine, or is it from my mother, from my father? Is it from my grandparents or from my ancestors? So therefore, here are 3 practical steps you can try and you can do to find out and to work on yourself and change these patterns, change this trauma, and change everything. Yeah, because when you are changing you, when you are understanding why is this happening, you are also understanding, you are also changing the generational trauma and generational pain. So the first one is acknowledge the past. Yeah, start by recognizing how your family's history might be influencing your present. Yeah, journaling. Yeah, maybe you say journaling. Okay, writing a diary. It's nothing for me, but it can help you. It can help also to your personal growth. Yeah. And okay, if it's a little bit more, if it's stronger, you can go to therapy. You can speak about it with some therapist. Yeah, maybe you think, no, I don't need any therapist, but today it's really normal to go and have some therapy hours for you, for yourself. For example, I have a friend of mine. He is really young, and yeah, in the next day he is going to see the therapist because this person decided, I want to work on myself. I want to understand why is this happening to me, and maybe it's not his or hers, it's from the past, from the ancestors. Yes. And before maybe you go to therapy, you can have family conversations. Yeah, these conversations with your parents, with your grandparents, can help you and also to the family connect these dots. Yep. The second step is, as I told you, seek professional help. Yeah, go to the therapist, speak about your thing. You can also make a family constellation and all this stuff. It also helps when you cannot move forwards. This is also a good step how you can resolve some traumas. And the third one is build resilience. Mindfulness, exercise, and cultivating a strong network around you can counteract the effects of these inherited traumas. Yeah, when you have a strong network around you, when you have a sincere and honest people around you, not the persons they are talking you la 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 and everything is good, and when they turn their back they are talking shit about you. Sorry for the expression, but yeah, sometimes it's like that. You need honest persons. They are maybe going to criticize you, but they are honest, and if you take it like a constructive critic, there is nothing wrong. You can think about it. Okay, does this person have right? Should I make something different, or is this just opinion of this person? You can accept it, you don't have to take it, but you always can think about it. Okay, so it's really important to have a strong network which supports you. Remember, this healing isn't just for you, it's for all your family, for all the generation, for the generation behind you, for your ancestors, and also for the next generations. And when you understand these cycles of trauma, you can change the narrative for the future generation, and that's a powerful legacy to leave behind. Okay, so to sum it up, the traumas of our parents and ancestors may leave marks on our genes, our behaviors, and also on our lives. But knowledge is power. By understanding these influences, we gain the tools to rewrite our story. So, what do you think? Have you noticed how your family history shaped also your own life? Share your thoughts to the comments. I'd love to hear your experience. I already told you mine, not in deep, but anyway, we don't have to go deeply. It's enough. I understand. I realized all these patterns which are influencing my life, and therefore, yeah, I am really excited to hear also your story and your trauma. If you found this video insightful, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might benefit. So let's keep the conversation going about how we can heal ourselves and our world one step at a time. I appreciate to have you here. Wish you all the best and see you next time. Thank you very much. I love you guys. This is this isn't about blame. This is about understanding that traumatized this this is this isn't about blame. This psychologists call this transmission psychologists call psychologists call this the transmission of trauma, and it's often really uh, okay, jeszcze raz. So if a parent yeah, dúfam, že to nahrávam vôbec. Nahrávam to. Attachment theory for attachment theory, for instance, show how